friends, and welcome to another video. Today, I'm gonna be mixing every eyeshadow from every online beauty guru's eyeshadow palettes together. So I've mixed a lot of my own makeup in the past, and I've also previously melted together every lipstick from Sephora to get a Franken lipstick that was meant to uncover the average shade of all of the lipsticks that are sold in their stores. Or, I suppose, the midpoint color of what Sephora thinks is a marketable lipstick to their clientele. Now, I'm guessing that most of you as YouTube viewers know what a beauty guru is, but just to propose a definition, I'm referring to online creators and influencers who make beauty-related content, and within that, usually recommend specific makeup products and provide tutorials as to how to achieve certain makeup looks. Now, these days, a lot of beauty gurus produce their own makeup products, either via their own company or by collabing with an established cosmetics brand. And if I had to say what the most common beauty guru makeup product is, it would definitely be an eyeshadow palette. So following the logic from my Sephora lipsticks video, if I were to mix together every eyeshadow shade from every beauty guru's palette, I would hypothetically come up with a midpoint shadow that would represent the most beauty guru recommended color. Once again, it's not great science. In fact, it's not even good. It's bad makeup science. But I guess that's why it's the name of the series. Now, a couple of caveats before we begin. First off, for this video, we are only going to be using palettes that are currently still in production, or at least were very recently in like the last 6 months or so. This ensures that in case a guru's taste has changed, we are presenting their most current recommendation. We also focused on gurus who, to my knowledge, got their start online, and more specifically, are YouTubers. But even with those constraints, there wasn't like a master list of beauty guru makeup products out there, so we may have missed a palette or two. So no shade to anyone if we missed them. But I think as long as our sample size is large enough, a couple of palettes shouldn't change our final result. Now, speaking of shade, I do realize there have been some goings-on in the beauty community recently. In fact, I started ordering these palettes in July, attempted to film this video in August, then stuff happened, so I decided to postpone. Since then, more things have happened, and I realized that there's probably never gonna be a good time to do this, so we're doing it now. Just so everyone knows, every person who I know of who could be considered a YouTube beauty guru's palette is in this video. I am not attempting to judge anyone's character, nor am I attempting to review the quality of these palettes. I'm just interested in what colors are in there and how many of them there are. No shade, only science. So with all that said, let's whip out the palettes. I feel like with them all laid out like this, it's almost like the Game of Thrones intro where you have like a topographical map of Westeros. Where are my dragons? I don't want to start anything, so I'm not gonna say who I'd put at King's Landing. Fly, you fools.
That's a different universe.
In the game of gurus, you either win or you die. Here for the tea just gets to behead you with the shard from a lip filler.
That's sharp.
No, it's very dull. It will take a while. All right, so to actually begin, why don't we start off with Jaclyn Hill's many palettes. So to honor the source material of this video, we decided to mix everything in this clear teacup, but this is a teacup of healing, hopefully, or at least of just forced togetherness. And the process I'm going to do is I'm basically just gonna scrape a little bit of each of these eyeshadows into this teacup, and then once we've scraped a bit of every single eyeshadow from every single one of these palettes, I'm going to use this Fixie makeup repair kit that I got to turn it into one eyeshadow. So without further ado, let's get to scraping. Oh, I haven't done one of these in a while. Now this Morphe Jaclyn Hill palette is actually the only palette that was also featured in my mixing all of my eyeshadows together video from last year. So she's already been through something. All right, ready?
Yeah.
Careful, careful. Just a bit off the top. Oh yes. Yes. And then once we've scraped, it's time to dump. All right, now that we've popped the cherry, we just have to keep going because there are a lot of eyeshadows and 69 palettes left. Unintentional, but good number. Oh my God, that's a softie. Well, that's our ship name, Ty. Softie. This makes a very interesting sound. Maybe I should just stop talking and we'll just make this an ASMR video. Listen, I love me some ASMR. My current favorite video is this one where a girl role plays as a medieval nun who's taking care of you while you have the plague.
You are sick with the bubonic plague. So sorry.
Do you die at the end?
I don't think I've ever made it to the end. I always fall asleep. All right, so I'm on my last row now. I've started wiping off my scalpel on my pants in between shadows, so I guess later on we'll have some leg check-ins as well as our T check-ins. So besides her like OG Morphe palette, Jaclyn also has 4 Vault palettes. She's got a purple toned one, a mustardy colored one, a rosy hued one, and a sort of like smoky blue one. These ones also have the shade names on the palettes, which I appreciate because then I get to see what they are named. Like these ones are Hush Hush and Bling Bling, and they're about to get scraped. Sounds like I'm saying crepes.
I go for crepe.
I could totally go for a crepe. There's also a color called Shh and a color called Bomb Ass, which sounds kind of dangerous, honestly. Ready for some pore porn, or as I like to call it, porn? One good thing about a small palette is you have sort of like a narrow dump. All right, so this is our final Jackie Hill color.
Was it like a ghost noise?
It was Morphe.com. I'm sorry, that was so stupid. But anyway, I guess that's one guru down. So as we move along, the other element I'm interested in investigating is what the average composition of a beauty guru palette is. Like how many shades are in there, are they neutrals or are they bold colors, and if they're mattes, shimmers, or glitters. I like shiny things. I'm sort of like a pigeon in that way. So as we go digging and scraping from guru to guru, oh yes, oh my god, oh it's so soft, oh I'm going too deep, oh my god. I'm gonna be calling out some stats to Tyler, so at the end we can calculate the hypothetical most common beauty guru palette. I like your pencil.
Thank you.
I also like your Fiends long sleeve t-shirt.
Oh, this one that's available right now, please. Let's stop that now.
Sorry, back to the video. Okay, so next up we have Candy Johnson's collab palette with Too Faced, which is called I Want Candy. You know, kind of like Aaron Carter circa 2000. And it does kind of smell like candy. I want shavings.
Dun, 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 dun.
And that's how I beat Shaq.
You kind of like sprung them in there.
I was trying to catapult them in.
Successfully.
And then next up, we have a bunch of collab palettes from the company Makeup Revolution, which I believe is a British company, so they're mostly like UK-based creators. Except for the Emily Edit palettes, I think she's from Illinois, as am I, so what's good, Emily? How about them bears? I don't think they're doing particularly well,
They're not doing that bad, actually.
They're not doing that bad. Hey, there you go. So after some of these Revolution palettes, the mixture is looking quite vibrant.
Oh, that's very spicy right there.
Almost looks like flaming hot Cheeto dust, which you wouldn't think you'd want to put on your eyes, but right now I kind of do. Coincidentally, my pant leg is also looking quite nice.
It's like a vibrant tie-dye.
Don't you mean thigh dye? So with this final sprinkle, that is Makeup Revolution. I'll clean up these palettes later. Don't worry. All right, so I feel like it makes sense because we just did Revolution Beauty, which is a UK-based company, to push on and do some palettes from creators of the Commonwealth. So we have a Tanya Burr palette, who's from the UK. We've got a couple from Chloe Morello, who's from Australia.
Ooh.
Did that make it in?
Yeah, you're getting good at that.
It's just luck every time. And one from Sean XO, who I believe is a Kiwi, aka from New Zealand. So the fun thing about the Sean XO palette is that it's double-sided. You have like one palette here, and then it goes this way.
Ooh, that's high tech.
See, it's kind of like how the toilets flush the other way in the Southern Hemisphere. And I also have double-sided eyeshadow palettes.
Perfect analogy.
Now, I think that's all the Commonwealth creators, though we may have missed a Canadian or two. They're just harder to sniff out. Then next up, because we just did a Pixi palette and a BH Cosmetics palette, I have more Pixi and more BH Cosmetics. From It's Judy Time, It's My Ray Ray, and Carly Bible. It's My Ray Ray's is also another one that has like multiple panels, and when I balance it on my cup, it sort of looks like a beach chair, which felt like it was something to note for some reason. And then we have Carly Bible's palette, which to me kind of looks like a Roman bathhouse. Like we've got some marble, some pools, some sort of decorative tiles.
Just no nudity.
Well, there's a lot of nudes in there.
Good point.
Okay, with all of those done, we're nearing like the midway point of the eyeshadows. The palette pile is quite formidable, and our eyeshadow mound is rising. So up next, I have 5 eyeshadow quads from Patrick Starrr in collaboration with MAC, and they come in a variety of different colors, and I think they're usually released like with a set of other makeup. Where'd this outfit come from?
You haven't been wearing that the whole time?
And this turban. Golly gee, I think I'm turning into Patrick Starrr. Do you think that Patrick Starrr is just a really big SpongeBob fan? Who got there first? Patrick Starrr or Patrick Starrr?
Or Jeffree Star?
We'll get there in a second. I will say though that Patrick Starrr is the only guru who has me on PR, so that's the real tea. Although I'm not really sure why anyone would want to send me PR after they see what is done to the makeup that is sent to me. But the point still stands. Thanks for the PR, Patrick. Call me. All right, so now I'm just gonna finish up the influencer brand collabs, starting with the ColourPop palettes, of which I have 1 from Makeup Shayla, 2 from Ava Gutowski, 1 from I Love Sarahi, and 2 from Kathleen Lights. Now, thinking back to the PR point, I'm actually pretty sure I do get Kathleen Lights' ColourPop PR, in which case, thank you to Kathleen as well. However, I don't have a Kathleen costume, sorry. For this round, I'm also bringing this Maybelline City Mini palette by Makeup Shayla as well, just so the Shayla ones can go together.
You could probably do that all in one dump.
You think this is a 1 dumper? I think it could be. I call this one 6 colors, 1 cup.
This guy.
Dear Shayla, I'm sorry. It's a very pretty palette. So with that, we're done with ColourPop and also the Shayla addendum of this little thing. So we have 5 more influencer brand palettes, starting with 2 from Kristen Leanne and Urban Decay. Now, I was gonna say that Kristen Leanne was kind of contributing to the neutralness of our eyeshadow stew, I guess, but her second palette is like all bright colors in all differently shaped pans. I feel like it's trying to tell me something, almost like Morse code, you know, like lines and dots.
Maybe there's a hidden message.
It's like National Treasure, but for beauty gurus. It's been in the palette the whole time. We also have 1 from Aspen Ovard and Tarte, 1 from Melissa Michelle and Ulta, and 1 from Nicole Concilio and Violet Voss, which is hollow
as hell.
Bitch. So adding that to my very precarious pile, now we're on to palettes by makeup gurus who run their own lines, like Laura Lee and Manny. Everyone Breathe. And Kristen Dominique too. And she's got her latte palette and her lemonade palette. She also, fortunately or unfortunately, has DC carved into each of her shadows, which we are about to mess up.
And all at once, the DC is gone.
They're Marvel eyeshadows now.
Actually, that was pretty good.
And then next up we have 4 palettes from Jeffree Star: Androgyny, Beauty Killer, Thirsty, and Blood Sugar. And he of course also has like an engraving in his eyeshadows that is about to be bulldozed. Actually, can we just pause for a second?
Why?
I feel like we're going through this way too fast. We're just blowing through all of these eyeshadow palettes. Maybe we should split up this video into like 5 parts.
Okay.
Maybe even 8.
Ooh.
If necessary. Like we could call the first one The Truth Behind Mixing Every Beauty Guru's Eyeshadow Palette Together. And then we could call the next one The Secret Behind Mixing Every Beauty Guru's Eyeshadow Palette Together.
It's kind of a mouthful.
And then in the third one, I could live like an eyeshadow palette for a day.
Well, that sounds like a video we might do.
Yeah, I'm just kidding. No shade at all to Shane or Jeffree. In fact, I'm very much looking forward to the Illuminati palette, and I can only hope that it's Taco Bell scented. Okay, so after those palettes, we're actually nearing the end of our scraping journey. In fact, we only have 2 gurus left. So our penultimate brand is Makeup Geek, which is run by Marlena Stell, and it's a little bit different from some of the other beauty guru brands because it's not just her name, but she is a beauty YouTuber, so she's here. And then our final guru is Huda Kattan, aka Huda Beauty, or as Tyler likes to call her,
Huda Booty?
Tyler cannot say Huda Beauty. To be fair, it's difficult to say. Now, Huda, like a couple of the other gurus that we have in this stack, I think is like primarily an Instagram creator. I know she also has a Facebook watch show.
Whatever that is.
I think, but she does of course have a YouTube channel, so I felt like with like all of the elements together, she should be on this list. Also, as we touched on before, her brand name is pretty great. Huda Booty, rockin' everywhere, as they say. All right, so after 12 Huda palettes, we're finally on to our last one. This is all that's standing in between me and sleep right now, so let's wreck it. We're ending with an orange.
Orange, you glad it's over?
Yeah. I'll take it. I'm pretty glad it's over. All right, let me put this atop this precarious pile and let's survey our mixture, shall we? So in the end, we had 70 palettes from 30 different gurus. So many dumps were had on this paper. Look how bad my aim was. With a total of 759 individual eyeshadows, giving the average palette about 11 shades. All right, I've pierced the middle. Oh, it's deep. So in our mixture, as well as in our average palettes, we had 62% neutral colors and 38% colorful colors. Oh wow, I just saw a crusty hair in there. Let me procure it. With 27% of those colors being purple, 18% being pink, 14% blue, 13% orange, 13% green, 9% red, and 6% yellow. So even though actual red shades aren't super common, it seems like variants on red like purple, pink, and orange are very popular. And all of that leaves our mixture looking like this, and our average Beauty Guru palette looking something like this. Oh, and also we found that 54% of the shadows were mattes, 40% were shimmer shades, and 6% were glitters, also represented in our theoretical palette here. So I think that now that we have this mixture, maybe we should just bust out the Fixie kit and see what happens. So with the Fixie kit, you first grind your shadows through the sifter. As it's going through the grinder, it's starting to look like very metallic. Like I'm seeing some shimmer up here. After that, you pour your shadow grounds into the pan you want to use and give it 3 to 4 spritzes of this sort of hand sanitizer scented stuff. All right, one more just for fun.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I did a little bit more than recommended, but I want it to be strong. Now I have to place this lid firmly over it and press for, oh, I should be standing up. Press for 10 seconds. Then after that, we just lift up the lid and we have our eyeshadow. Ta-da! Hello, Frankenguru, and welcome to the world.
You feel like a proud mother, Anna?
I've birthed an eyeshadow. It smells like alcohol. First impressions on how it looks in my hand is that it definitely looks warmer and browner than the shadow we made when we mixed just my personal eyeshadows last year. But similarly to that one, I am seeing a lot of shimmer in there, as well as some multicolored speckles if you look close enough. So the Fixie kit does say that you can use your newly pressed shadow in like just a few minutes, but I'm gonna let it dry overnight because we've been mixing for hours and I'm about to pass out. So I'm gonna put my Frankenguru shadow right here, and then tomorrow when we eventually awake, I will return, swatch it, and wear it all day. But in the meantime, we'll place her here so she can sit upon the pigment throne. All right, so it's the next day and our shadow is looking dry and ready to apply. A pimple has also sprung up on my nose to join us in this journey, so welcome, pimple. All right, so this is how it's looking this morning. I think it's looking like slightly more purple and burgundy-ish than it was last night. It does, however, still look more brown than the Franken shadow that I made last year. So this is what the swatch looks like in full sunlight. Ooh. It's quite sparkly and it's sort of like a rosy copper shade. And then in inside light, the swatch looks like this. Less sparkly and more of like a penny color. All right, let's put it on. So I'm just gonna put some eye primer on just to give this eyeshadow a fighting chance. Oh, it is showing up very quickly. I think with the last Franken shadow, I did have to like build it up a little bit. And this one I would say is more pigmented. I think it does work pretty well as like an overall lid shade. And in general, indoors without sunlight, it does look sort of just like a flattering, warm, rosy, taupey brown. I hope that wasn't too many descriptors, but that's sort of how I feel about it. So I'm just gonna finish up my makeup really quick and cover up our friend Sir Pimple, Dame Pimple.
Judy Pimple?
Judy Pimple.
The Judy Dench with a pimple.
And then we'll check back in. Okay, so this is my finished makeup look. I think that actually this Frankenguru all over the lid with the rest of my makeup looks kind of dramatic. And I feel kind of like, but used more sparingly and perhaps with less of like a cat eye wing, I think it would come off more subtle. So now that my makeup is on, we're going to go outside, see how the shadow looks in different lighting, and then we're gonna do a few different activities, including looking for a dupe at Sephora and also looking at the shadow under a microscope. All right, let's go.
Ooh.
Oh, the sun is bright.
Right in the eye, sorry about that. Oh, it's real shimmery.
I feel like a cat in the sun, or a raisin, either or. That's a poetry joke. I also apologize for that. I'm gonna make an apology video after this.
Yeah, but this apology video will be just failed jokes.
All right, so now that we've seen it out in the sunlight and I've slightly damaged my retinas, let's go to Sephora and see if we can find a similar shade. So I'm just gonna swatch the Franken Guru on my hand to aid us in our dupe finding quest. There are a lot of dupe candidates because it's just a neutral shimmer, but it's also kind of quietly unique because it's in between purple and brown and also in between matte and like a true metallic. I guess it's sort of a satin, so it's tricky to match actually, as you can see from the numerous swatches on my hand. We also have a swatch from Krusty right here.
Yeah. We need to trim his nails.
All right, so after a decent amount of swatching, I came up with 4 like finalists that I think are pretty close. But out of the 4, the winner for me is this shade right here, which is a Dior Backstage shadow called Shimmer Purple in a palette called Cool Neutrals. So I guess Dior thinks this is a cool neutral purple shimmer, which isn't what I would call it, but it's a pretty good dupe. Okay, so we're at home a few hours later, and I thought it was high time for more science. So I brought out my trusty microscope just so we could take a closer look at what we've got going on here. Okay, so I'm just gonna swatch it on my arm, and then we'll see what we can see. Oh, interesting. Oh wow, you totally can see a lot of different colors under the microscope. Come look. I can see some sort of like brown particles in the cracks in my skin, but with the shimmer that's coating my scales, you can see a lot of different colored glitter. Look, you can see like an orange and a blue and a pink. All these things you can't see with the naked eye, but with science, you can see it.
Science.
AKA a $19 microscope from Amazon. So as a bonus comparison, I'm gonna swatch the OG Franken shadow next to it, just so we can see the difference. Oh, interesting. Okay, so this shadow is obviously much older than the Franken Guru. Actually, I think it's almost exactly a year old.
This is sort of like the 1-year anniversary.
Aw, and when I look at it under the microscope, I do see a few different color pigments, but I would say that I'm seeing less different flecks overall, I feel like. It's sort of more frosted and less multicolored. I think partially because the Gurus had more different colored glitters than I did in my personal collection, and I theorize that the glitter chunks are what we're seeing here. All right, so it's been quite a few hours, so I think it's time to wrap up our day wearing our Franken Guru eyeshadow. I would say that overall it wore pretty well, like it still looks quite good on the eyes. And in terms of the color, I do think it is a nice color, though I will say I wasn't surprised when it turned out to be like a warm, shimmery brown, just because of how many neutrals and variations on red went into the mix. And I think that the strong representation of those colors may just be because neutrals and rosy tones are easy to wear for a lot of people, though I do sort of suspect and wonder if there's some like color theory to it, just because I've seen things about how fast food restaurants and restaurants in general will choose like red and yellow and other warm colors for their logos because that makes people feel hungry and more likely to go in. So I wonder if perhaps the same thing might happen on like social media, like a warm toned look might make people, you know, feel sort of cozy and ready to like. Of course, that's just a hypothesis. I don't know a lot about color theory, but it sounds plausible. So just to truly put a cap on our day, I thought it would be only appropriate to make one more tea joke.
Oh my god.
So I bought some empty tea bags with which to make some Franken Guru tea. It's sort of like stone soup, but not. All right, so I'm going to boil the water so the tea is hot. Should I leave room for milk? No. See, this feels like one of those things where like someone should have stopped me before we got to this point.
Yeah, I think he's sitting behind the camera right now.
All right, so I've let the tea steep for a couple of minutes. So here we go. Cheers to the Gurus. Ooh, it tastes like chalk. But you know, not too bad actually. Sort of a bad feeling in the back of my mouth, like I'm feeling a little bit of like a powder back there. But all in all, I'd take another sip. Do you think this is bad for me?
Most likely.
Valid. Okay, so that is the Franken Guru eyeshadow. Obviously, this time around, I don't have like a lot of them to give away, but I would still like to hear your guys' name suggestions in the comments below. Also, we did just restock our Bat Bitch hoodies on our merch site, as well as a few other items. So if you're looking for your size, it should be there, including double and triple XLs. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked that video, make sure to shamash that like button. And if you want to see more videos like this, make sure to shamash that subscribe button. Here are my social media handles, and a big shout out to Carly for watching. Thanks for watching, Carly, and I will see you guys next time. I just wanted to show everyone what happened when I took the tea bag out to dry. It made this face on the paper towel. I think I may just have exorcised the angry Pac-Man out of the beauty community. Or it's just a tea bag. I don't know. You decide.